All right, y'all, so let's talk about this. So last night's Dynamite, solid show. I love the fact that Shelton Benjamin and Moxley fought tooth and nail. That match ended with a sign of respect. You got two veterans that basically have grinded and paid their dues and still is paying their dues, not sitting back on the reputation of what they've done in the other company and things like that. You know, and Tony Khan and any other promoter would be foolish to allow it. But a lot of people, they allow those type of things because I guess they feel like, hey, star power, if I lose this person, then hey, right? And I have something to make a comparison with, you know, and I want to bring up something that someone said. And everybody's entitled to their opinions, and I really don't care about what people like and don't like. But when people are biased and say things that is completely contradicting to the points they make against other companies, it's foolish. Okay, so solid match between those two. Marina Shafir versus Toni Storm. Sometimes those things have to happen where it's a DQ, or, you know, something happens, a time limit draw. We know those things are going to happen, and it also helps the competition, you know, to look strong as well. Now, of course, Wheeler Yuta, he snatches the referee out of the ring when he's going for the pin on Marina Shafir, and that gives timeless Toni Storm, you know, a disqualification win. Okay, you know, they start to pretty much, you know, they're doing the number one Storm. You know, Orange Cassidy comes out. The weirdest feeling about it all, and you know, the thing is, because we know that Roderick Strong and Marina Shafir has a kid together and they're married, but it just feels weird to see it. But because it's all an act, it's a work anyway. It's just like, you know what I mean? Just to see them going at each other. She even spit at him last night, and I'm like, wow, like, okay, that's just a weird feeling for me. But anyways, it is what it is, and it makes me think about a place I used to work at. And I remember this woman had her family there, and a guy comes in the office and references her as mom, and she said, look, my name is Miss Carol when I'm at work, not mom. And I'm like, wow. So I'm saying, you know, it's one of these things, I guess, where, hey, hell, this is just what we're doing. I'm a part of the Death Riders, he's a part of whatever the hell Orange Cassidy them call themselves. But yeah, that type of thing, whatever. But anyway, yeah, they had, you know, solid match. Now, Willow Nightingale coming out, I'm not giving you these things in order, I'm just pointing out the things that I like the most too. But Willow Nightingale coming out to celebrate. Now Mercedes comes out, and I started laughing because I said, whenever there's cake and there's Mercedes, she's going to end up with the cake on her, which is what happened. And so Mercedes, at this point, is just, she's like frustrated, she's aggravated, she's disgusted, she has no words, she got angry. Now Willow wanted to celebrate with her, and expecting the heel to show sportsmanship is like, okay. But yeah, it happened with Moxley and Benjamin last night. But anyway, she got frustrated, she shoved Harley Cameron. She got angry, she starts flipping the tables and stuff over and everything. And if anybody was expecting her to give Willow props and they take it from there, that's not what happened. But she ends up you know, going after Willow. Willow moved up the way, and Chris Statlander standing behind Willow. She's holding a cake, and when she moved, Mercedes lost her balance and fell face first into the cake. Then pretty much Willow decided, okay, since you don't want to celebrate, she, you know, hit her with a finishing move and left in the middle of the ring, laying in the ring. And her, you know, Willow, Harley and Chris and Renee Paquette, you know, danced their way out the ring. That's how that segment ended. And it's interesting to see where Mercedes is going to go from here. A lot of times when the champion has a long run and they're doing a lot of times they kind of take a hiatus, but she still has several belts. So not in AEW, of course, but you know, it might be a thing where you don't see her on AEW TV for a little bit, and you know, she comes back with, okay, okay, rejuvenated and now it's the rebuilding stage type of thing. Don't know. I don't know if her and Athena are going to continue a partnership as far as in the tag team division, or if they're going to go more the solo route for now. But there's options, so I'm interested to see how that goes. Last night was supposed to be Jungle Jack Perry and Jet Speed versus who the hell did they wrestle last night? But who the hell was it? Anyways, Jungle Jack Perry was there, and Jet Speed got attacked backstage. So the Young Bucks stepped in for Jet Speed. I forgot who the hell did they fight last night, but it was a 3-on-3, and the Young Bucks and Jungle Jack Perry got the win. Jet Speed did come out at some point, in support of the brawl that went on. I think it was against it was the Don Callis family. And so Andrade comes back last night, makes his official appearance. So, it's great that, that legal mess with the WWE is over with and he's here. See, all of that, trying to keep people out of the ring for long periods of time, these I really feel like this. You're not concerned or worried about competition, right? Then you don't worry about a 90-day no-compete clause. And you know that everybody has to make their money, they have to feed their families. So there's really no need for that shit, but that's just the way the business is set up. It's weird, and it's funny to me how Tony Khan has also let several people go and didn't put that no-compete clause. You decided to let them go. And even if they wanted out of their contract, okay, fine, fuck it, go earn your living elsewhere. That's the way I see this shit. Of course, all that shit is to kill any momentum that you may have going to the next company. That's all that is. And I understand it, but I don't like it. All right, anyways, he comes back last night, so it's apparent there'll be no more delays in him disappearing because of some legal shit. So hopefully everything goes smooth with Andrade and he does what he's supposed to do and everything works out with it. So, yeah, another solid match. Hobbs and Hook, they went at it against Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland. And I think they had a lights out match. I mean, they were all over the place, man. Another hard-hitting match. They got the win. The chemistry, the things that they do in AEW, even like with them getting tied up with the chain and them figuring out how they had to get out and Swerve flipping hang over his neck to get the noose from around his neck and everything. I mean, just it's like I love the effort, the creativity, and the understanding that the stories are being told in the ring as well. When you're gonna have a match like a concept match where people are expecting a lot to go on, more so than the regular a regular standard match, those type of things make a huge difference. And those are the things that you're going to remember. Those are going to be the spots and things that you remember. But like I said, I love the whole point that wrestling starts and ends with wrestling. And regardless to what the storylines are, they're interesting, they're long-term, and they're not a bunch of childish, foolish storylines. And you get a mixture of humor, you get some really heated stuff, and you get a different combination of different emotions from different wrestlers for different situations. That's what it's supposed to be. I love that. And so Hangman Adam Page, pretty much he makes Hook tap. He had the rope or chain wrapped around his neck and was hanging him out over the top rope, and he tapped because he was choking. And so they get the win. I think that eventually, I told you guys this a long time ago, I think that long term, what's going to end up happening is two guys like Hangman Adam Page and Swerve, who were bitter enemies at one point in time and did some horrific shit to each other. And of course, retaliation is retaliation. But end up becoming a tag team. And they will be a beloved tag team. And, especially keep them faces. Don't make them heel. Keep them faces. And believe me, this will be a tag team that everybody will get behind. An unlikely duo. But that's what I saw. The more this story developed, that I think the two of them going to end up being the closest. They know each other better than anybody else, and the rivalry they had to lead to them to end up ultimately becoming a tag team, well, that's what it looks like is going to happen, and hey, I'm all for it. And I like the build. Nothing's just rushed, and let's just throw teams together and stick them out there. Like, everything, and this is one of the things, like, I will say it a million times, when you WWE retards are going, they have no storylines. It's like, what the hell program are you watching? Okay, anyways, it was a solid show. If I missed anything, don't worry about it. The show is solid. Just bottom line, man. Also, Darby Allin confronted Pac, and he got the jump on him, and he starts to, pounce on him, and he was about to slam his foot in the door. Then the Death Riders came for the save, But listen, plain and simple, I love what AEW is doing. I'm definitely looking forward to next week's Dynamite, and of course, the Saturday's Collision. But I'm watching what they're doing, and I said, you know something, man? See, it's so funny how when you have a different formula, it's so funny how when you see things in a way where it's not stale, it's not the same old, and people want to hate so bad. It's so stupid. Someone said this, right? In a conversation, it was online, but this person ended up realizing how they sound when they said what they said. Now, this person said WWE sucks, right? And he says wrestling as a whole, it just sucks, right? And I just said wrestling as a whole, so that means every company sucks. He goes, well, not every company. I said, okay, so specify who you mean, because what we're talking about is pro wrestling, right? So specify. Every company doesn't do the same exact thing. Who are you talking about? He goes, well, WWE and AEW are like the top two, and I said, okay, specify your point. Don't just make claims. Say what the problem is. So he goes, it's just like wrestling needs that change. Like, okay, for example, see, like JCW. You see what I'm saying? Ever since Vince Russo's been there, every episode has been different, and basically all he did was repeated everything Vince Russo said. And I said, let me ask you a question. And you said JCW is pro wrestling done right. That's what you said. I said, okay, why can't wrestling done right get a TV deal? Why did wrestling done right need Vince Russo? So you're telling me within 4 or 5 episodes, I said, you do realize that they're way behind schedule, right? That all these shows are taped. I said, now it's wrestling done right, but hardly anybody, most people don't know about it other than they're hardcore fans. I said, if it's done right, I said, give us some examples. This dude could not give us one example of, just give us a match. The only thing he could talk about is what Vince Russo did in the past, and what Vince Russo pretty much, well, since he came, I said, no, tell me what you saw. I don't care what Vince Russo said. I don't give a shit about what Vince Russo said. Tell me what you saw that make you say this is wrestling done right. And then he has to openly admit, well, he haven't seen anything yet. He just heard Vince Russo talking, and he did see a few highlights. Okay, so stop lying. This is exactly my point about people looking for something to hate on. And yet, you're going to call JCW wrestling done right. I feel like JCW is a fun little show. It doesn't feel premium. It feels like a fun little independent show, but it needs a lot of work. For it to appeal to a mainstream audience, for it to appeal to become a big time player in pro wrestling, look, when you say something, be able to support your claim, at least with some evidence of some proof of something, that things that you can actually explain. When you just repeat what someone says, then you don't even know what the hell you're talking about. You're just saying things. Now, I don't care how he feels about JCW, but the fact that he ends up agreeing with me, are you right? And okay, all I'm saying. So what is AEW doing so wrong? Tell me. Now, why did they win 10 awards and not WWE, not JCW, not NWA, not CCW, or any? Why did AEW win Promotion of the Year and everything? Why? If you fix your lips to say that it doesn't matter what Sports Illustrated say, then keep that same energy if and when it's another company that they, appoint these awards to. I like AEW. Oh, now you like AEW. It's not what I want you to say. See, this is the point. We have people that just talk and say things just to talk and say things. We were on Twitch. I'm not on Twitch, TikTok. And this is my point. If you're going to sit here and talk to your audience, tell your audience the fucking truth. A lot of people actually rely on what you say and go by your words to judge how they see things. I would encourage everybody to do your own homework. But what I'm not going to do is feed you lies. Your opinion is your opinion. Even if you agree with me, it's opinions. One thing's for sure, I base my opinions off of the facts. But it's still an opinion. But I can tell you this, if you're going to say that JCW is wrestling done right, you should be able to tell me why. You should be able to explain to me what you saw about the show. And the thing is, their shows are taped. Here's something that JCW has just done to shoot themselves in the foot. Matt Cardona is signed to WWE, which shows you they don't see JCW as any type of threat. Because JCW, their world heavyweight champion is Matt Cardona. Matt Cardona constantly pops up at promotions, surprise appearances. It gets to the point, the ovations are not the same. The ovations, okay, we done seen this motherfucker do this 1,000 times. So here's a guy who's a mid-carder, but you're a world champion. And if they think that this is going to be Matt Cardona being in WWE is going to get more eyes, okay, is he coming out with that JCW championship? Are they bringing JCW wrestlers on their show? I don't even know how many people JCW have that's officially on their roster that this is their wrestlers, because they have a lot of people pop up here and there, and to be honest with you, it's like you see the same faces at every show. Kerry Morton, all these different people, you see them in NWA. So they don't have any breakout stars. They have nobody that stands out that's exclusively signed to them and that you even care about seeing. So if you're going to have a roster full of wrestlers that's all over the place but have no actual star power. Example, Bandito was a fucking star, man. And how could I forget about Bandito, who came out last night, won his match. Bandito is let me tell you something, man. I can tell you who the people who are that I watch more for. Like, that's the thing. AEW's roster is full, man. There's so many people I like over there, man. Like bottom line, Bandito comes out. I can remember, let's think about when you first saw Bandito. Now think about where he was from then to now. And I don't think he's going to beat MJF next week. MJF just got the belt not too long ago. But Bandito, that dude is incredible, man. And he goes in there last night. He does what he does. And then, MJF comes out, confronts him, and bring this guy out to translate. And basically, Bandito end up, getting the best of the two of them. And their match will be next week on Dynamite. Bandito is a star. Do you hear the ovation he get? Do you hear the ovation that Jet Speed gets? Do you hear and Kyle, Kyle Fletcher is a heel, so of course he gets heat. But that's my point. Do you hear the heat that he gets? Yeah, all of these different people that you see, they work with them, and at some point, everybody gets their turn to shine and become a star in the company. And this is what JCW doesn't have. Willie Mack and Too Tough Tony and guys like those guys, Congo Khan, these are all mid-card guys. They don't have the drawing power for JCW to do anything different, which is why they brought Vince Russo in. Vince Russo writing stories is not going to make all of a sudden JCW the top company or one of the top companies because they have Vince Russo. No, they got to get the right pieces, and that's one of the biggest things. They don't have the right people that they need to draw. They don't have whenever you look at wrestlers and say, okay, cool, this person is wrestling over here, they're over there, they're over there, they're over there, right? You got to understand, when that's the case, and yet they don't have any real drawing power in the company that they're in, What's going to change? What storylines? What's going to be so powerful about a Vince Russo storyline that all of a sudden JCW is wrestling done right? Look, I like watching JCW, but like I said, there's so many things that they need. They need a better structured show. They need to take things more serious in terms of the production quality, how they put the matches together, and to get people to understand what's going on with these feuds. Because one of the things about their storylines, if you're a WWE fan or a so-called I like storyline, then you should hate JCW then if that's the case. Because JCW, one thing about their storylines is they are that short. And once the match happens, it's like, it's over. Next. They don't do long-term storytelling. And for that person to say what they said, I don't mind. I don't care that you like JCW. I like to watch JCW. But there is no fucking way that if I got to pick between AEW and JCW, I'm picking JCW. Oh, hell no. Look, I like watching CCW. Okay? But at the same time, when you resort to trying to root for the underdog simply because, you just don't want to. The thing is, here's his problem. He's a WWE fanboy. He knows that they suck. He can't say anything good about them. So he's been hating on AEW all this time, and he don't want to give AEW props. He don't want to feel like, hey, I was wrong. Hey, AEW is shining. Hey, he don't want to do that. So let's just say all of wrestling sucks. Then when I confront him about that, he says, the fact that he goes, JCW is wrestling done right. It's like, are you fucking shitting me? How? Like, explain to me how. And like I said, it's like a fun little independent show. That's what it feels like. I've been to big shows, I've been to small shows. It feels like a fun little independent show that they don't take serious. And when I say take serious, I mean, I'm talking, don't just do just anything and say, hey, it's all in. No, do things that captivate the people to get them watching. JCW is not hardcore. They don't have concept matches. They don't have, there's nothing going on in JCW that's really like, it's just shaking up everything. Everybody's talking about it. No. The most talk about JCW is the things that Vince Russo said and have yet to deliver. And bottom line is, I don't care how much you want to see them grow. I like to see them grow. I like to see the NWA grow. But you can't just feed people bullshit that don't make sense and say it's different and think that your company's going to grow. Example, NWA has been, they're on Roku. We heard about that deal. Who is talking about the NWA? Do you see video after video of all these different content creators talking about the NWA? Do you hear anybody talking about their deal on Roku? Okay. If when TNA starts going live on AMC, TNA is in a better position than JCW and the NWA. If TNA is able to get, let's just say 200,000 people to watch this show, if they're able to get at least that, let me remind you of something. There's a time TNA was getting a 1.4. One night they pulled 2 million. 1.4 versus 200,000 is a huge drop. Which means right now, they're still at that between that 70 and 100,000 viewership mark. That's what TNA's been doing. So AMC being on a bigger platform, a streaming platform, and I don't know if they're still going to be on Anthem. I mean, not Anthem. Name that Access TV. I don't know if they're going to do how AEW is still on TNT and TBS Plus Max. If it's going to be that, I don't know. But if they could get at least 200,000 people to watch, that's still a huge drop from where they were at one point, but it would be an increase in where they are now. And my thing is, if they had superstars, if they had people that people were actually cared about. See, A guy like Nick Nemeth, who has respect on his name for what he's done, and he still can go, he's still not somebody that pops up on your show and all of a sudden, oh, ratings boost. No, that's not what they are. See, people don't understand this. They just look at, oh, I know who that is. Oh, that's such and such. Oh, okay. But when they show up, what happens? What changes? Everybody's looking at ratings. But it's like, if you're going to sit here and look at ratings, you're looking at ratings when you want to compare WWE to AEW. The fact that, at least SmackDown and Raw is still pulling in more. But then when you start bringing in JCW and TNA, you know that there's no comparison, right? See, there is when you put your foot in your mouth. I don't care about the ratings. I'm just putting these things out because this is what everybody does wrong as far as I'm concerned. You're looking at viewership to say if a show is good or not, right? But when you say that AEW or WWE is doing wrestling wrong, yet their viewership is way higher than the company that you're boasting about, and yet we can see the weaknesses in that company and what they would have to change. They don't have any real star power at all. And that's the thing. What worked for JCW has to remain, but they have to alter it to where it's still there, but let's enhance it. They got to figure out how they're going to do that. But at the end of the day, what we get from AEW and WWE are two different things. So it's weird how you try to throw them in the same basket like they're doing the same thing. No, they're opposites. And as a matter of fact, Jake something, that's the name I know him as. He came out last night as well. And yeah, it was him. I forget the other heavyset dude. Yeah. And he's a part of the Don Callis family. When he was in Jake something showed his face in a couple of AEW events. I always said TNA has something in this guy and they just don't know how to tap into it. That guy could have easily been the new, I don't like saying the new of another person because you are who you are, but I'm saying, look at him. He has a look between Hercules Hernandez, Bruiser Brody. You could have took this guy to Berserker. You could have took this guy. Jake something could have been something special. TNA don't know what the fuck they're doing. Just like, what's his name? PCO said. They don't know what they're doing anymore. And that's another thing. PCO is joining JCW. Another old guy. So this is the point when I'm saying they need some new blood. They need somebody that can stand out and that can get eyes from their appearance, their performance, and their overall package. And they don't have that. Once again, another old guy. Madman Pondo's come back. They got Vampiro. These guys who are not the same. And let's be real, man. Nobody takes Matt Cardona serious. So this is their champion. And the fact that somebody's trying to put them in the same bag, the same basket as an AEW or WWE to say, and don't get me wrong, it's not hard to write a better show than the shit that WWE's been doing. But I'm saying, let's not play stupid. A guy that's a mid-card guy on a WWE or AEW roster, and he's the champion in JCW, just like Willie Mack. Even in TNA, Willie Mack was not the top star. He was just one of the guys that people liked, but he made no difference in their ratings or had any real impact in making any difference on their show. So I looked at that and I said, yeah, okay. So the conversation ended up being one where people in the comment sections were grateful of me pointing these things out to him, because my thing was, I don't do debates or arguments. But what I'm saying is, don't sit up and just make claims that you can't support with evidence. So at the end of the day, as pro wrestling, as someone who likes to watch pro wrestling, it's like I said, the better every show is, the more fun we have. My issues with the WWE, I've already stated. I'm not going through all that shit again in this video, but fuck the WWE. Just say, overall, it's not wrestling in general that sucks. Like I said, the biggest problem that I have with most, even like just take CCW for example. Any of these shows that's taped, it's like too long of a gap in between the next video. So if I watch a new CCW video today, and let's say the next time they drop another one is a month from now, you understand what I mean? It's you done forgot what happened last time, so you're not really following it where you're keeping up with whatever stories are. It's just, and to be honest with you, CCW really don't have stories either. It's just matches and okay, this person beat this person last time and turned on her, so she's mad. And they're wrestling again. But there's no actual stories. There's nothing going on that's intriguing outside of the matches. Right? I watch wrestling for the whole shebang, but I watch it for the wrestling more than anything else. It's just you don't really understand what's happening in terms of why this person is beefing with this person and what did they do to this person and why. Like NWA out of nowhere will have a fucking, like a fucking grudge match or something. It's like, where's the grudge? What happened? Why are you having this or some type of poll? But why are you having this match? What did this person do to this person? Nothing. We just selected two people and said, hey, let's have a fucking, you got to climb to the top of the pole and grab the glove match. Like, why? Do you understand what I'm saying? Why are you having this match? A grudge match is because you have a grudge. Something happened. There's a history with you and this person. To just say, I mean, you know when they have matches and they'll say, a person will say, how about it, me and you, first blood match or something, or, right? It's a stipulation, but there's a feud there. Imagine somebody just walk up to somebody backstage and go, hey man, how you doing? Hey, good seeing you. Listen, tonight, me and you, Hell in a Cell. Why? You're having a Hell in a Cell match just for the fuck of it? So this is what I'm saying. That's my point. There's nothing going on a lot of these shows to where the storylines are even appealing or make a lot of sense. I've already pointed out in one of my last videos some flaws that Vince Russo has already made. Some contradicting flaws he's already made since he's been there. And I'm not pointing it out to say, hey, don't watch JCW. No, I'm saying with all this talk that he's doing, he needs to make sure that he's covering all bases, because this type of shit, you can't talk shit about what somebody else's creative process is and you yourself make excuses as to how difficult your task is because they have 12 shows a week and all that. So what? You took the job. So you should be able to handle it then. And let's not try to make it seem like if you walked into AEW or went back to WWF or WWE or whatever, like, or any company, you just gonna shake it upside down. No. All of y'all, Jim Cornette, all these guys, they've all made these bold claims and talk and criticize and critique everything, but when y'all had y'all shot, y'all blew it. Y'all blew it. And we know the fact that TNA, I mean, you know, that AEW is approaching their 7th year and surpassed all of the 6-year flops, all the 5-year, 4, whatever. So now it's like, damn, yeah, they've all been surpassed. This is why, if I'm still active, if I'm a songwriter right now, if I'm an artist, and all I'm talking about is my old albums, my old #1 hits, you know what that means? I don't have any new hits. So I'm writing all this new music, but nobody gives a shit. All everybody talk about is my old music. That's what those guys are. So whatever you did in the past, you're still living off the past. What can you produce right now that can rival the things that you complain about? Whether it's AEW, WWE, or whoever, what can you bring to the table? And if you start to really look at things, the excuse makers, well, I mean, JCW don't have the money. Okay, well, shut up, because you can't, that means you can't compete with them. You can't compete with AEW or WWE when it comes to production quality, sound and audio. Okay? You don't have experienced cameramen or production team that can, you know, put segments together in ways to where it looks premium and feels premium. No, this is why they do the things the way that they do. They have a small mindset. They don't do things the way the big times would do it. They don't have that. And Vince Russo being a head writer and all, okay, so what? I'm saying, like, so what? I just wanted to even say that, make that clear, because there's certain things that people hear and talk about, and they'll say, yeah, I saw that same thing, or I heard the same thing, or hey, I saw y'all, you know, live on TikTok last night. It's just one of these things, y'all, where people are looking, like I said, for something to complain about, and they want to just find some underdog company, something that they can sink into and say, oh, this company is doing this and this. So I'm saying I do enjoy watching, JCW, but no, I'm not like, oh, I gotta see JCW tonight, I just gotta see it. Well, I'm not like that with anything, really. But bottom line, AEW is the only wrestling company that I'm going to make sure that I watch what they got going on. Everything else is I'll see it when I see it. None of it is consistent. They're all recorded shows, pre-recorded shows, and so they just don't add up. And you know what? We was on a chat last night that had 380 people in the chat, and everybody agreed that NWA feels like it's videotaped ahead of time, and they take segments from different videotapings and put them together. I told you, it feels like a compilation show. It doesn't feel like how every segment that just goes and like nothing is happening live backstage. Everything, like the way they do their segments, it looks like ads and commercials the way they do their segments. And their little segments and little ad style has nothing to do with what's about to happen in the ring or what just happened in the ring. That right there is not going to attract a huge wrestling audience. It's going to get the people that don't really care. It's just something to watch, which means they're casuals, and they'll walk away and turn away from your show. And the generations following them won't care. They can care less about what NWA is doing or what JCW is doing, anybody else for that matter. And the thing is, look, your creativity and your dedication to what you're doing, right, is supposed to be there because, especially for these fans, that's what it's all done for. Because if you don't have a fan base, you have nobody to perform for, which means you guys don't make any money and you go out of business. So every time I hear people try to discredit AEW, and AEW is the one company that has diversity, that is pushing for wrestlers to be something. Imagine if Tony Khan was pushing Bandito and the Commander and all those luchadors the way WWE is doing Rey Fenix and Penta, and have little goofy segments with people like Iguana Man. Like, do you think I'd be sitting here going, yeah, that guy Bandito is... No, it's a different show. It's a different mindset. CMLL is different from AAA. But my thing is, as people that claim that they love pro wrestling, it's not about comparing the companies. It's about wanting to see the companies do well. But when you have a company that doesn't care about their fans, shows racism, shows a lot of ignorance, a lot of hate, and they're a bunch of lying-ass motherfuckers, I can't respect that. And I have heard no talks about no other company, no complaints about backstage and racism and all that in any other company other than the WWE. All the things that I've witnessed myself that turned me off about them, I have not seen in any other company other than the WWE. So none of this is about, oh, I'm picking and choosing a company and middle fingers to every other company. No, I don't have time or interest to sit and try to watch everything. There's a whole lot of other shit that we do in life. And no, I'm not a couch potato, man. I'm active. I have a life. But if I'm going to sit and watch anything that I can't follow, see, that's the thing. If something gets your attention, you will make more time for it if you have the time because, hey, I really like this, right? And this is what I'm saying. There's nothing overwhelming happening. Look, if it wasn't for Nikki Blackheart, to be honest with you, I wouldn't even really got into CCW. I started watching it more because at first I was watching nothing but Nikki Blackheart. I started watching other people and, okay, I see the way the show is structured and everything. It's like, okay, you got to remember too, when a show doesn't have a major TV deal, there's a lot of things, and when the show is not live, and it, like, who the fuck want to sit and watch those little tiny ass monitors that they have in JCW? You know what I mean? Like they got a bunch of laptops taped to the wall. Like, who wants to sit and watch that on them little ass screens? So they don't do certain things. They don't have the mindset or the vision to do certain things that you do when you're in the big times. They don't do it that way. And therefore, when you look at what's happening in any other company, and they're all doing the same little Bush League type fucking company shit, and you're gonna call that shit wrestling done right. It's like, are you shitting me, man? Again, and they have one of the best tag teams. Like I love watching the Outbreak. That's like one of my favorite teams, period, in wrestling. You know, it's not a whole lot of people that they have that I really, I like him or her as a wrestler. It's the show overall itself. It's not really so much the wrestlers that they have. You know, the people that they have is not really that excited. They got one dude, I can't remember his name. Is his name Ninja Mask or something? One little luchador guy. It's two, so I might be getting the name mixed. But it's one guy kind of reminds me of Bandito, a little bit. But you know, they don't have great matches in JCW. You know, they have matches that it might be a little fun match here and there, but they don't really have anything that anybody is going to take them serious. The company itself don't take it serious. They put out what they put out with a bunch of mid-card guys, and they don't have the vision or the understanding, it seems, at least, that they need some new blood in there to give JCW that adrenaline rush that it needs to get everything out there. And let's be real, when you see a bunch of old men, every segment they're sitting down talking, looking like they're stressed out, they're too tired to stand the fuck up, so they got to sit down and do their goddamn segments. I mean, who is that going to attract? Just saying, y'all. Let's be real. Anyways, I'm looking forward to next week's Dynamite, like I said, and of course this Saturday's Collision. But AEW is doing a phenomenal job. They're keeping the momentum going, and that's what you want to see. You know, I'm not going to be critical of any company because they have a down period. You know, all wrestling companies go through that, where something is not as solid as it was. Then okay, but it's like early detection, like some type of disease. You catch it before it spreads, before it becomes an issue. Get rid of it. And this is the whole thing. The WWE has been able to get away with more bullshit than any other company. Like, people would put up with their bullshit. Cody Rhodes, out of his own fucking mouth, said, if I ever felt disrespected by the WWE, I mean, that's different. They're the Yankees. They're the big show in town, all right? But to feel disrespected by the company that I helped build, sound like some lame bitch shit. Now, if Booker T, you ever wanted to call somebody a punk ass, it should be Cody fucking Rhodes. Because first off, he's letting you know, yeah, I did feel disrespected, but hey, it's the WWE. It's like I told you, when guys go to other companies, they think that their shit doesn't stink because they was in the WWE. And I never liked hearing, I remember when they started booing CM Punk one night in AEW because he made a reference to, I headlined WrestleMania. Nobody gave a fuck. And I said, see, that's exactly the issue I have with these former WWE retards coming to AEW. Because once they get there with this, hey, I'm bigger than AEW. No, you're not. And after all that talk, I fought John Cena or The Undertaker, who gives a fuck? We know what you did. This is AEW. This is not WWE. We don't care about what you did over there. To where you're gonna bring it over here and talk. No, we don't care about any of that. That was there. We respected what you did there, but now this is AEW. And instead of you coming in AEW for the new challenges and giving this company the props that they deserve, and understanding you're part of a roster where there's fresh matches people never even thought of, and all. No, you want to come there with this, I'm bigger than any other company. Nope. And I've always, TNA had that. Every other company where there was a former WWE guy coming. Do you guys remember the night that Rikishi showed up and was a TNA event, and he was supposed to be going against Robert Roode, and Rikishi disrespectfully stood there and was like, I'm going up against, he's like, same thing, how he headlined this and that, and this guy, Ravishing Rick, like making fun of him like he's a nobody. Ric Flair, all these guys did the same thing. They talked down on the talent that was in TNA, talking about how the horse, remember when he was a part of Fortune, he single-handedly went through everybody in Fortune and told everybody what the Horseman would have did to you, Arn Anderson would have did this to you, Tully Blanchard would have beat you to a pulp, you know what I mean, or Ole Anderson would have did this to you, right? I mean, it was like, what the fuck is your point? Are you trying to put TNA out of business? Like, what are you doing? you can't come to a company, and like, let's look at Frankie Kazarian, for example, right? Who was finally champion in TNA, world champion, right? Do people not realize Frankie Kazarian, the fans don't even care to see him as champion. They don't even really want him as champion. And he gets one of the weakest ovations out of everybody, but yet he's carrying the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, and he has a long history with them. Trick Williams was getting a much bigger ovation. NXT wrestlers was getting a much bigger ovation than Frankie fucking Kazarian. And it's not just because he's a fucking heel. Trick Williams was a fucking heel as well. And they could care less about Frankie Kazarian. But hey, man, this is what people need to pay attention to. Frankie Kazarian, when he was a part of SCU, I know that, look, a lot of changes happens with new wrestlers, and it happens all the time when new faces come. Some of the cornerstone people stay, but it always happens. Frankie Kazarian with SCU was good. Christopher Daniels, him and Scorpio Sky. I don't know exactly why they separated. These guys are older now, though. Understand that. So I don't know exactly what the cause them to separate, whatever. But the thing with Frankie Kazarian was he was never a main event guy. He was never a main event guy. He was always a mid-card guy that could wrestle. But he was never, what I'm saying, he was never, like, people never looked at him like he's that guy. And this is exactly why these guys have always been mid-carders. And when they go to WWE, like, for example, if you look at Robert Roode, what did he do? He was nothing but fucking sidekick for Nick Nemeth. That's all he was. Nobody cares about what he did. Now take when he was Beer Money with James Storm. Look at his tenure in TNA and compare it to anything he's done in WWE. And you see everything was so much different. Look at Ron Killings when he was in TNA versus anything he's done in WWE. He was taken far more serious. So my whole thing with all of that is when you end up like if Ron Killings left WWE right now, you think wherever Ron Killings go, ratings are going to increase? For one, he'll be used different, and to let him just be a fucking comedian, is that what you're tuning in for? You're going to watch a 2-hour show just to watch somebody come out and talk you to death and play stupid? Oh, this is, wait a minute. Like when I see shit like him coming out to the Women's Royal Rumble and he's acting like he's so fucking dumb that he doesn't realize it's the Women's Royal Rumble. He's asking. You're walking to the ring, yet you see nothing but a ring full of women. And you work at a company that you're not in full disclosure with, little silly shit like that. People, oh, it's just humor. But my sense of humor in that is like, okay, that shit's corny as fuck to me. But this is the type of shit that they've done. So who wants a guy like that as their world champion? Eric Young used to be a goofus. You understand what I mean? And then I said, this guy really can wrestle, man. And the only way Eric Young is going to do anything, if he come close to being a world champion, they're going to have to completely repackage him, which is exactly what they did. And they tried to repackage him when Hall and Nash was still there in TNA. And after they were gone, they did repackage him. And he became more of a serious guy. And although he was a face when he had the belt, everybody respected him. Then he turned heel, he disappeared, he went to WWE and was completely non-productive with that little bullshit group they put him in, and was getting pinned by everybody. Then he came crawling back to TNA. But the thing was, the bad guy Eric Young got a lot of attention, okay, in TNA. But in WWE, he produced nothing. And this is the type of guys that are the top stars in like JCW or NWA. EC3 is no longer in the NWA. You see Tom Latimer and different people like that. The storylines are so inconsistent and are so non-existent, really, that, like this guy Mondo. If look, that's all they got now is Mondo. Spencer Slade, I think he's still there. I haven't seen him in a while. That's the thing what I'm saying. The way segments are showed on NWA Power is, like I said, it's like a compilation. Let's just take this, and that, or take that match. Let's put it together, and it makes no sense. Like 1 minute, Mondo's out there by himself hollering, "What about Mondo?" and this and this and this and that. And then the next thing you know, the next time you see him and Spencer Slater are a tag team beefing with someone, and you're like, last episode they just had, there was no beef with these guys, and Mondo was by himself. Now all of a sudden, him and Spencer Slater is beefing with this team. Next episode, Spencer Slater's out by himself without Mondo, and it's just a weird show. And these are the type of guys that go to like a JCW or NWA and become top guys. We've seen Willie Mack on several episodes of AEW Dynamite, and it's like I said, man, these guys that even have some talent, they can wrestle. Willie Mack is impressive because he can do flips and somersaults and shit. Now, he's a fat motherfucker, you know what I mean? But Willie Mack is not somebody who I look at and see, he's going to be world champion. He's world champion. I don't look at Willie Mack like that, man. Most of these guys can barely move as far as how they move around the ring. Their moves are so telegraphable and so choreographed that it doesn't look like art when they're doing it. It doesn't like they're in a fight, they're in a match. It just looks like they're going through the motions. Let's do it exactly how we practiced it. It just doesn't come off good on TV. And they look like a bunch of amateurs, and that's pretty much what happens. The fans like Willie Mack. I think Willie Mack is a good wrestler, man, but like Willie Mack, it's nothing about Willie Mack, man. Last night, one of the commentators said, if Powerhouse Hobbs is not world champion one day, I would really be surprised. I'm saying the same thing, like, yeah, at some point, Hobbs need that push. How it and when it comes, we'll see when it happens. But Powerhouse Hobbs, he's been there with AEW for a while now, paying his dues the same way, man. And these are the things when I look at who's who, and you look at the potential of what might happen if certain people stay, because, hey, you never know what happens when contracts are up. But Kyle Fletcher, all these guys, Bandito, like they have a great roster, man. I agree that they have the best roster in wrestling. There's like nobody there that I really don't like as a wrestler, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I don't want to see other companies fail. I don't need to put them down in order to boost AEW or any other company for that matter. Tune in. If you enjoy the show, just enjoy the show. Stop trying to be politically correct. Stop trying to say what you think people want you to say, and just be honest. And don't say things that you have no knowledge of. You like these people that be trying to defend the Bible but don't even read the Bible, don't even know what's in the fucking Bible. Yet you got people that study that motherfucker from Genesis to Revelations back and forth and can flip that motherfucker up and down and dissect and understand it, and you don't, but you're trying to put up a fight and can't even explain yourself. That's what people do. Oh, WWE, well, they're better than AEW. How? And what do you like about it? What's the last thing you saw? And all they do is watch highlights and talk shit. People just talk, and these are the people that just want to be heard. I don't care what company you like. That's not what it's about. I'm not here to change your mind about what company you like. But I will say, as I said earlier, I love what AEW is doing, and also for all of the black people and any people of color or anybody that spots the racism, see it and complain about it, and y'all don't like the WWE, it's weird how you have a company that's the exact opposite, but instead of watching that company, you sit and want to keep complaining about what the WWE is and what they aren't. The kind of people that they talk more about when they lose than when they win. So instead of celebrating, you rather complain, and that's just what it is, and that's not going to change anything. Anyways, get in the loop, man, and understand what's really real, and stop fucking being a slave and a fucking puppet, letting anybody tell you what to say and what to believe. Yeah, I had a great show last night, man, and there's a lot of things I'm looking forward to seeing, and I definitely want to see what develops with Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland going forward. I see championship gold in the future as a tag team. I definitely do. And that's cool too, because especially when you've been world champion already, it gives other people a chance to come up and get that rub and get that shine. So now you have multiple stars, man, and that's what it's about. And that's why it is important to have multiple belts. Just the belts need to have meaning. Doesn't matter if you just holding a belt, yo, get your belt. What does this belt represent? That's why, like I said, the belts need meaning. It's not, this is a different day and time. You cannot have 80-something people on the fucking roster, man, and just 5 belts, 4. But no, you have to have multiple belts because like with the trios, with this tag team, the women's tag team and all that, TBS, TNT, I mean, all these different belts mean something. And they're necessary. And they keep people relevant. And they give them something else to chase. Because once you lose a title and somebody else is stepping up to, be that next person in line, what are you doing? You're wrestling, right? You're in matches, but what are you fighting for? So there's always multiple titles. That's a great thing. That's a great thing. And that's one of the things that a lot of companies don't have or seem to just not understand why it's important to have that. And when your wrestlers get to the point where they had a run and they become stale, man, now you got to repackage them. And when things don't go right, what do? Pack their bags and they go run to the next company. And we all have seen so far, just because you run to WWE don't mean that the grass is greener. But we've seen people come to AEW and it's like, okay, you want to look at people and want to say, well, nobody cared about this guy. They didn't use this guy right or that guy. My thing is, you want to see the same things, even like the same chants. Y'all wanted Jericho to come in with that. You just made the list nonsense, and Rusev Day. That's WWE shit. Rusev Day has nothing to do with AEW. It's a different way, and different things that you do with these guys. These men and women work. They go from one company to the next. If you come to a company respect and understand that, hey, I'm here to do my job. And here's the thing, and this is why I can show you how they're all pussy. Why is it okay for you to come on an AEW show and talk about how you headlined WrestleMania, you fought Taker, and you fought Cena, and you fought Kane? Ooh, okay, right. Do you think that a WWE, anybody, would allow Harley Cameron to come in? Not Harley Cameron, what's her name? The one, Blake Monroe, motherfucker, Mariah May. Oh, I am a former AEW women's champion. Nope. They don't. Now, if you was in TNA, they don't care because they have a partnership with them. But they want to make it, they want to pretend you wasn't a multi-time champion in AEW or anything affiliated in AEW. If Adam Copeland, Christian Cage was a champion, right? Adam Copeland had it for like a day. Yeah, he cashed in, whatever the fuck it was. But bottom line, if the Hurt fucking syndicate left right now and went back to WWE, you think Triple H and them won't have a problem with them? They're gonna let them stand up here and say, you talking about to the former TNA World Heavyweight Champion, former WWE World Champion, Intercontinental Champion, former AEW Tag Team. No, they don't want you to make any mentions of it. And that's why I said, we know where the fuck you come from. We don't need you to come on AEW soil though talking about what you did in WWE. We don't give a shit about that. It's really simple. And that's where you got to look at what's real and see this mask that everybody's trying to wear, that we all supposed to just do things the same way. No, we're not. I don't want my mask to look like yours and his and hers. I want my own mask. And the thing about my mask is I wanted to say truth and facts on it. Truth, facts, and logic and reason on the inside and the outside of my shit. So y'all know where I'm coming from. I'm not here to shade motherfuckers just to throw shade on them. I'm here to tell the truth. And if telling the truth seems like I'm throwing shade, oh well, I don't really give a shit. Because the truth is just that. The truth. Simple. Dynamite knocked it out the park again. And this is going to be an interesting year in wrestling, man. I do want to see what's, like I said, I'm checking JCW to see what's going on. I'm not checking it to say, okay, it's going to be another garbage show. No, I don't think JCW is garbage, but like I said, there's a lot of work that they do need. A lot of touch-ups, a lot of things that they could just tweak and do that. And it's things that makes a big difference. It might not seem like nothing to you, but if they changed it, I guarantee you notice the changes and go, oh shit, Unless you're somebody that just start watching or barely watch it. But if you've been watching them, you see the changes that I'm talking about if they made them. But at the end of the day, we want to see wrestling as a whole, bro. If you're just a WWE fan and you hate everything else, then don't even talk to me. I don't even want to hear your stupid ass comments. Like, you know, I blocked and deleted somebody the other day. It's funny because the motherfucker was complaining that his channel got banned. Well, hey asshole, how about you stop going on people's channels making stupid remarks? If you don't agree or like something, so fucking what? Keep it to yourself. We're not here to be ass kissers and follow what everybody else is doing. Plain and simple. Our talk was real. And if you don't like the truth, fuck that and fuck you. That's all I got for you guys right now. I'll catch you on the next video.